What's going on, guys? Another Johnny TCG video for you. You know the deal. We're playing with starter deck 8 Monkey D. Luffy. I think this leader is slept on. I have a ton of fun playing it on the sim, and I really think more people should try it out. So, I have another video about starter deck 8 Monkey D. Luffy that I recommend you watch. And today I just got even more games for you. Some really interesting matchups that I bet you don't see very often. So let's get straight to it. First up, we got a game against Whitebeard. This is not a matchup you see often. I believe this is actually my first time playing Whitebeard as starter deck 8 Monkey D. Luffy. I choose to go second. I end up mulliganing. I don't have a lot of counter in hand, which is not great, but I am a 5 life leader, so I will get more resources from life than I typically would with other leaders. They're taking their time thinking about their first play. They're going to play out the Ezo, which is a common Edward Newgate first turn play, and they get the Marco from OP02. I don't have a turn 1 play, so I'm just going to have to pass. But one thing that's tough about this leader is that it's not necessarily really easy to activate Rob Lucci by turn 2, unlike Sakazuki that can trash cards using leader effect. There's no way for me to kind of start cycling cards into my trash. I've got 4 Dawn up. I'm left with a choice. I can play down brand new, search for some more cards, fill up my trash a bit. I'm also considering the Brook. I swing 5 into life just to be silly. I end up drawing a T-Bone off the Kuzan, which is great. Another good play I think here would have been just playing down the Brook and being able to KO either the Nami or the Ezo. And then I would have been able to give my leader one Don that was rested. So I think there's an argument for both plays there. But I'm not mad about playing out Kuzan. I don't think that's necessarily a misplay. They've got 5 Dawn up. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw it on one of their characters and swing. 5 at life. I am not going to take this. I am going to trash the brand new, partially because I need to start building up my trash, and also I do not want to get too far behind in the life game. Normally I would not counter out of a 8,000 swing, but because I want to use the Lucci this turn, I wanted to make sure I had some cards in my trash. I'm not 100% sure if I'm even going to play it because I might want those cards off of the Gecko play, specifically the brand new. So I may hold off on that play just for the time being. I could play the Brook, get the Ezo off board. I can also play the T-Bone. The T-Bone is a 2k counter, so I do not know how excited I am about the idea of getting rid of a 2k counter. But having another body to swing with would be great. The Brook would require a lot of Dawn commitment just to be able to swing at lead. But I decided to go with the Brook. I'll be able to KO any smaller body that they play out, so that's good. I do have an Ice Age and a Great Eruption in hand, so even though Brook can only KO something that is at 0 cost, I can get something as high as 7 cost down to 0, or technically 8 with Brook's ability to -1 as well. They're going to go 9 at Kuzan. I let it go. I'm thinking I'm going to bring back the Kuzan actually on this Gecko play right here. Who doesn't love a value Kuzan? I mean, a value Gecko, where you play Gecko and you bring out Kuzan and a brand new. Talk about card draw. I'm going to go with the Tsuru here just for the extra counter. And I'm really liking where I'm at right now. They are at 9 Dawn, so they would be able to play a Newgate. They play out the Nico Robin here. I'm not that must be a misplay. I don't think they're really trying to spread their board wide with a Nico Robin. Maybe they thought the brand new was lower. I'm not sure what the Nico Robin did in this case, but hey, it happens. They play down the Marco and KO the brand new. I'm perfectly fine with that. And I get the Sabo out of life. Sabo is great in this meta and in this matchup specifically. It'll be good to protect my board. I'm going straight into swinging big. 9k with Gecko. They use up a Radical Beam. I am cool with that. Soap Sheep is a card that not a lot of decks run, but I think it's great. For 1 cost, you get to -2 from 2 of your opponent's characters. I'm going to try to get rid of some of these Marcos. And I know they both have abilities that they can come back from the dead, but one, I get to use the leader ability and get 2 rested down for Luffy, but also that's just cards they have to discard from their hand. So it's a win in my book. Let me know if you think differently, but I really like this play right here. I'm going to go 5 at the 4 cost Marco, the blocker, and they're going to 1k out of it. I can KO it with Brook, actually. Let's see if that's the play I go for. I realize that I don't necessarily want to swing into it and then also kill it with the effect. So I swing at the other Marco and use the effect to kill the 4 cost Marco. They don't use its effect to bring it back. So right now they're debating whether or not they want to save this Marco. I am feeling pretty comfortable right here. I've got a ton of counter in hand. I've still got an Ice Age and removal in the form of T-Bone and Brook in my hand. I've got a wide board that they're going to have to deal with next turn. And they just concede. Not a lot of counter in hand, and even with the rushers they have, the writing is kind of on the wall. Next, we'll look at a game against Starter Deck 13 Sabo, red and yellow. I love this leader, actually. I think it's a ton of fun to play. There are a lot of different styles you can play with that deck. Triggers, Revolutionary Army, Wano packages, Straw Hat packages. They play Charlotte Flampe turn 1 and then pass to me. 2 Dawn, I've got nothing to do, so I'll just pass without doing anything. My hand right here is okay. It's not amazing. I will like to play that Kuzan next turn. And that'll also give me a card draw and just develop a good body. 8k at lead, I'm going to take it. I get a Rebecca, and I top deck a Gecko. You love to see it. Right here, I almost played out the Kuzan first, but I realized that was not a good idea, because if they got Onami trigger, that Kuzan would have been dead, and I would have felt like a fool. They let themselves get hit for 5,000 with my leader, and no trigger, so I pass. 5 drop ace, you hate to see it. I'm gonna start countering out of this. He can't put it back to life because he does not have any Dawn open, so that's great news. I'm actually going to counter out of his 5k swing too. That was probably a controversial play on my part. I could have afforded to eat both of those hits probably, but I know most likely this deck runs a lot of rushers. Between Starter Deck 1 Monkey D. Luffy, Kid and Killer from EB01, maybe OP01 Zoro, there's a lot I need to kind of be weary of. I swing with Kuzan for 5 at lead, just kind of a little poke, and give -4 to Ace. Now I'm going to be able to use Kobe to KO the Ace. Super happy to have that off the field. And I'm just going to put an extra 2 Dawn and swing at 8 for lead. I'm expecting them to take this, and they do. They get the trigger, not a great feeling. It's only a Satori, but still not ideal. Flampe takes out my Kobe. RIP Kobe. You did your job. It's time to rest. 5k at Kuzan. They do have a lot of Dawn left to work with. And hypothetically, next turn, I could bring back the Kuzan with Gecko. I do have the counter in hand, but with the amount of rushers I said before, and they also still have their leader swing, I know I'm not going to be able to save it this turn most likely, so I might as well just let it die. They're going to swing 6 with Starter Deck 1 Luffy. I give it to them, and then they're going to put it to the top of their life using leader ability. And they're going to swing 6 at me. I'm going to take it. And now I've kind of got some decisions to make. I do like the idea of getting the Rebecca out as a blocker off of the Gecko play. But I also would like to get rid of their board, and that will be hard if I play Gecko. So I kind of need to think about what's ideal. I only have 5 cards in my trash, which is not a lot. If I want to play the Rob Lucci, I will probably have to put something back that I do not want to. So I have to kind of think about this for a moment. I'm glad my opponent isn't getting antsy, or at least getting mad at me in the chat, because yeah, sometimes you just gotta take a moment or two. I end up going Rebecca, and now I'm debating on what else to bring out off the Gecko, and I actually decide I'm thinking I'm not going to bring out anything, just because I want to keep some cards in my trash so I can potentially rob Lucci. And there's really not much of a benefit of just bringing out a Suru for the heck of it. Using Rebecca, I was able to play out the Brook and just KO the Flampe. Nothing big there. Being able to combo Gecko into Rebecca into Brook is great. I don't swing at lead just because I know that Monkey D. Luffy will come back out and swing and then get put back into his life, which will be a headache. They bring him out with the little brother Monkey D. Luffy anyway, which is really unideal right now. I don't have a lot of counter in hand. I have 3 1Ks. Looking at a 7K to Brook. I'm going to take this. I'm thinking about how much Dawn they have left up. They still have 5, which is enough for a serious rusher. Maybe Ace from Starter Deck 13, or the Starter Deck 1 Luffy. 6K into me. I think I'm going to give them the 2K here. I don't want to go down to 0. I know I still have a big swing from their leader coming, and so I'm going to block with Rebecca. At first, I think about maybe Ice Aging the Monkey D. Luffy, and then maybe getting Brook back off Rebecca, but they just let it die. I think right here I could do Ice Age into Rebecca into Brook to get rid of that Satori. And I'm kind of going crazy thinking about what I want to do. It happens, so that's the play I end up going with. Rebecca into Brook, and then Brook to KO the Satori. My leader gets 1 Rested Dawn. It doesn't really matter though. I'm going to play out the Sabo, I think. I think right here I need to be on the defensive a little bit. Sabo lets me cycle my hand, which gives me the opportunity to get more counter, which is huge, and then set myself up for a better play next turn. And I can't swing at their leader because they were powered up. with 10 Don to work with, if they have the little brother Luffy again, I'm going to be in a rough place. Having two blockers that can't be KO'd by effects is a great feeling, though. 6 cards in hand for my opponent. So they probably have an answer, and they do. They actually go with the ace into Brook. I am a little surprised they went into Brook here. And I actually use Rebecca to save it, just because I want to keep a body to swing with next turn, and then also potentially KO something. The only card, I have T-Bone and I have Kobe in my hand that can KO things, and hypothetically I could play Rebecca and bring back a Lucci. But having that Brook to also -1 will be convenient as well. This combo is absolutely nasty, but for them, they move the ace back to life, they play out the little ace, and then bring big ace from life onto the field. I really feel like I have no choice here. I'm just going to have to let Brook go. It is what it is. And now they're going to have a big swing of 10,000 at me. They're probably thinking of whether or not they want to swing at Gecko or lead. And luckily they do Gecko. That is a little bit of a risky play. I've got 5 cards in hand. Only one of them needs to be a 2K to get rid of it. But if they were able to get rid of that Gecko, I think it would have been game over. 9K at ace. Let's see if they have it. They'll need 3K of counter from hand. At least 2 cards. I did draw a Sabo from just top decking, and so they are able to counter out of it. They discard Koala and Charlotte Cracker. Not the end of the world. Debating on what I want to do right now. I think I'm going to do Rebecca, but I won't have enough to KO that ace, unfortunately. But I will be able to bring it down by another one, which is huge, because now I can play Kobe if I want to KO it. That Sabo, I think, feels better, but I need to get rid of that ace, or I think I'm done next turn. Here, I could swing at lead, but I decide to hold off. Just going to force them to draw into their rushers. It feels risky not swinging when you have the chance to, and you know it could hit because they only have a few cards in hand. But when you think about it, giving them another rusher that can become unblockable with 2 Dawn is just not ideal either. So we're gonna just kind of stay put right now. Taking a look at my trash, just kind of getting an idea of what I have in there. They have the Kid Killer. Not what we like to see. They're going to be able to put that back on the top of their life if they want to. They're going 7 at Brook. I'm going to block again with Rebecca. I like keeping that Brook alive, if only for minusing a character's cost by 1. He seems really hung up on it this game. And I've never played into this matchup before, so I'm not exactly sure just how dangerous that Brook can be or feel from the other's point of view. But it's clear they want to get it off the board. They give 1 Dawn to their leader, which is not surprising. They'll be able to put Kid Killer back up into their life and power up one of their characters if they play something else. If they have the 5-drop ace, that would be great timing for them. They'd be able to power it up to 9,000. This is telling me that they don't have any rushers in hand, because they most likely would have played it. And here I'm debating on whether or not I want to counter with every single thing in my hand or block with Sabo. They don't have many cards in hand. I'm thinking maybe I even go for game. I know 2 of the cards they're going to get in their hand are not going to have counter. So at max right now, they have 9,000. I just give them 7. I'm swinging with my Sabo. Here I'm basically saying, let's go for it. It is what it is. This was a really intense game. I did not necessarily think that I was going to be able to get the dub. They let that one hit again. They could be kind of gaslighting me a little bit, trying to bait me into swinging. Do they have any counter at all with those 2 cards they originally started with? If they don't block out of this, we'll give them 7 right now. And do they have it? Even if they do have it, they won't be able to stop the Gecko swing. We know the 2 cards left in their hand. That was a really fun game, a really close game. In retrospect, I feel like that was a little ballsy of me to counter out and swing with the Sabo, but hey, it is what it is. Our final game tonight is again Starter Deck 13, Black and Yellow, Monkey D. Luffy. I chose to go second. I like going second with this deck. Ideally, I play it brand new. I don't have any great turn 1 2 Dawn plays. I'm just going to play out the Great Eruption. I don't get its minus cost value at all, but I do get to draw a card, and I do get to put it in my trash, which will be important later, as one of the problems I seem to have with this deck is that sometimes I want to play a Rob Lucci, and there's not enough cards in my trash. They're going to play down the Monkey D. Garp from Starter Deck 13 and draw Monkey D. Luffy. They're going to play another Charlotte Flampe and draw the top card of their life. Swinging 5,000 at me. I am going to take this. I only have 2k encounter, and I don't want to use it all on a 5k swing. I get the one-legged toy soldier from life, and they're actually going to play another Charlotte Flampe, so they are already down to 1 life on my second turn, which is pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a Starter Deck 13 Luffy drain their own life like they're doing right now, as quickly as they are doing it. But hey, I'm not going to question the strat. They play a Hiyori. I expect a little brother's going to come out now. And they're going to play the Sabo. They successfully play the black 5-drop Sabo from OP04, I believe that is. Yes, OP04. And now they're going to swing at 8. I'm going to let this hit. I get a Gecko from life. I'm going to play out another Kuzan. I think I'm debating on what I should do. It really sucks, the 5-drop Kuzan in this matchup, just because my whole goal is to KO their cards. I'm going to swing 7 at lead. I know this isn't going to go through. I'm just trying to pressure life a little bit, make them discard cards. And I'm going to play another Kuzan. It lets me draw 1. And if I can get a turn where they didn't play a 5-drop Sabo and their characters are not protected from KO, I'll be able to have a field day with 2 of those on board, minusing the cost of 2 of their characters by 4 each. They're going to give 2 Dawn to their leader and use leader ability. They're going to play 1 ace, and are they going to play another? Or are they going to play Sabo? They're actually going to play the Monkey D. Luffy from Starter Deck 13. They have the little brother Monkey D. Luffy, so they're able to play out the Monkey D. Luffy and power up their leader. They have the little brother Ace, so they're able to play out the Ace and power up their leader. This is so unideal. 8 into life. I do have a lot of cards in hand. I'm going to start countering out. One thing that I did notice is that Their cards are not immune from my KO effects this turn, which is huge. I've got a Rob Lucci in my hand. I've got tons of cost removal. It's not a permanent solution. I'm gonna swing 5 into lead with Kuzan simply so I can -4 from one of their characters. I minus it from the Monkey D. Luffy. I'm debating on swinging again with this other Kuzan. I'm not sure if I really need it, and I don't want to turn it sideways and risk it being KO'd. I'm trying to count here. What is the best way to do this? I don't have anything in my trash really, and so using Rob Lucci and setting my trash to 0 is not ideal. I'm going to end up going with the Soap Sheep here to -2 of their cards by 2 each. Then I'm going to be able to play out Rob Lucci. It's not ideal, but it is better than nothing. First, I'm going to play out another Soap Sheep just to really lower the cost and let me pick exactly who I want to be KO'd, and also putting more cards in my trash. I take out the Sabo and the Monkey D. Luffy, and then my plan here is to just, using leader ability, I get 2 Rested Dawn because I KO'd 2 characters, and then attach 2 Dawn to my leader and swing big into the ace. I really hope this gets through. Hypothetically, I could have swung at their leader as well, but I imagine they would have 1k encounter. They let the ace go. I'm feeling pretty good here. They could hypothetically bring back 2 aces. They could bring back more Sabos. But right now I've got a wide board and I've got geckos in hand. I don't have a ton of counter, only 3k, but with the way I expect this starter deck 13 Monkey D. Luffy player to play, I don't expect them to be able to make a real dent in my board or be able to pressure me all the way to life to where I'm nervous I'm going to lose this turn. They used the starter deck 13 event to reveal another Monkey D. Luffy. They've got 2 Dawn on leader, so we can expect that they're going to bring 2 cards back. They go with 2 Monkey D. Luffys, actually. They'll play 1 little brother and bring out the first Monkey D. Luffy. They're going to give 4 Dawn to Garp and swing 6,000 at my leader. I am debating on whether or not to take this. I decide I'm not going to take this because they're going to swing 9k with their leader, so I'm going to take that. They're not safe here at all. While they are 7,000, I've got four big swings that I can do. I'm just going to start out with a 7k swing from Lucci. I'm just trying to take cards out of hand. I've got a Rebecca and a Sabo in hand, and so depending on how I'm feeling, I do have blocker options if I want to poke a little bit and then play a blocker. I'm going to swing 7 with Kuzan. They're going to counter out of that. And now it's simply just math. 7 with the other Kuzan. They take it, and before I can load it up, they concede. GG's. Those are the games I got for you today. I had a ton of fun. Let me know what you thought about them. Which game was your favorite to watch? I think the Sabo one, Starter Deck 13 Sabo, was really nerve-wracking with all the rushers that deck can play and all the triggers that deck can play. I never really feel comfortable playing against it until the game is over. Today's games didn't really highlight 6-drop Sakazuki or 8-drop Isho, so I definitely want to show some more footage, especially where those cards are being highlighted. So subscribe if you want to see more Starter Deck 8 Luffy. Subscribe if you want to see more off-meta leaders. Subscribe if you want to end the lack of product in this game. I am running for office. I promise my first thing I'm going to do when I get elected is make One Piece cards more easily accessible. That is Johnny TCG 2024. That is my message. Alright, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.